Hey, welcome to another episode of the Black Guy Who Tells podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
And we're here for people, the dozens of us survivors that are
The
left,
whole 12.
the people that even waited for our slow asses to get caught up.
All right.
We're recapping The Walking Dead, the final season. I think after tonight we have 4 more episodes to go.
I know it might sound stupid, but I feel like we flying through the season.
Honestly, it's taking a lot not to just binge it just to get to the next one when I see another episode. But I know the audience is used to the wait between, and they're used to having an episode per recap, so they don't have to, stop the show because we like, we're gonna do 3 today or whatever.
Right.
So I'm just trying to keep it to the tradition, you know. That way when we add it to the Walking Dead playlist on Spotify, it'll be like nothing ever changed, you know. But yes, it is the Walking Dead recap time. All right, Walking Dead time. This episode was titled What's Been Lost. It's actually directed by Aisha Tyler.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, one of my problematic faves. Okay, love her work. She's actually been in episodes of Fear the Walking Dead. And that dope ass wrestling episode. That was so fun. It's the 173rd episode and the 20th of this season, meaning there's 4 left after this one. Karen, you know how we start. What did you think about this episode in general?
I like this episode. This episode was really good. It was really fast paced, good. I love the pace, moving. It concluded a lot of things. It kind of answered some questions, but it brought up some other things, which I got a feeling to answer later on. And just from the preview last week, I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. And it really was. I enjoyed this episode a lot.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was fast moving. The runtime seems to be somewhere around like an hour 6 minutes with commercials, but the days of the hour 30 minute, hour 40 minute vlog sometimes that's gone. And I just appreciate the tight amount of plot movement that happened in this episode. Everything seems to be moving forward at a rapid pace.
Shout out to Jessica Kane, cut some of this shit out.
Yeah, there's not a lot of filler in my opinion. And yeah, it's still also stylistically good. That's these recaps are short, but I honestly think that's because I like the way the show is moving. All right, so what's been lost? I wrote 2 different locations. I got On the Run with Carol and Daryl, basically, and then I have the governor's house with everything that happened with Yumiko and Pamela and all that stuff. Not really sure which one to go with first. I guess we'll go with the governor's house, although some of the governor's house stuff will have spoilers for the second part I'm about to tell you, but this is the boring part, so I just say we do this first.
Okay,
this is the least action. So Pamela Milton is talking to some donors after, of course, we watched her son get zombified and eaten and get exposed with the videotape, right? I mean, audio tape.
Yeah, they were sitting in there like, yes, great job. What do I make my donation check out to?
Yeah, Pamela felt like Drew Barrymore coming back to work with no writers because I don't know if you saw the latest news, but Drew Barrymore's show is coming back. The writers declined to come back. I said it would happen.
Yeah, because
didn't I say?
Yeah, because
and what I said. I told didn't I say? I said what would happen when I said so.
Because they was like, this is the opposite.
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Cause I told you. And when did I tell you? A long time ago. And what did I say will happen when I told you? Exactly what just happened.
Yeah, because you
that's right. Yep, that's right. That's right. That's right. Yep, that's right. Yeah, Rod was right. What was that again? Oh yeah, Rod was right. Rod was right.
Yeah. I've been right about all of it. We
I've been right about all of it. Woo! Yes. Yes. They were mad because they was like, this is literally the opposite of everything you stand for. And, you know, in their mind, they was like, hey, if something like this was to happen again, we know that you won't have our backs as writers.
She was walking right past him. I said that shit on the show. I said, I don't know how they're gonna go back to work with her because she walked past, like, she walked in that building while they were outside picketing. That's not a slight people can just take. And at that level, because it was her the like head writers. She has 3 co-head writers. At that level, you making head writer money. You might have some options. Like staff writers like me, you probably I would have walked right back up in that bitch and just been mad that she did that shit, but I wouldn't have said nothing.
Right. They was like, oh, everybody coming back, so I can get another job somewhere else.
Yeah, the co-writer, like that at that point, you can probably find another job or you just have enough money to work on your stuff or whatever, pet projects, or you're making a huge sacrifice to make a point. Either way, all 3 of them women was like, we not coming back. So that's how Pamela felt this episode. She was sitting there talking about, oh, don't worry, we're going to get the donations going and order is going to be restored and everything is going to be fine. And then the people was like, well, long as the check clear. But I was like, I don't see Max in there. Obviously, Sebastian ain't in there. Mercer ain't in there. She in there with the B team. Okay. And just like she had the B team security going on.
Yeah, she did.
Yumiko busted up in there when Pamela was talking about, I'm going to stop all the immigration. That'll fix everything. And this one donor was like, I'm sorry you lost your son. And Yumiko busted in there. I was like, man, fuck her son. Where my friends?
Right. The fuck is happening? What's going on up in here?
Now, last time the episode ended with us seeing Rosita get, abducted, basically.
Right. Minding her business and just got a bag over her head and yanked.
So if Yumiko's busting in here asking about where her friends are, we know more of them are going missing. And so Pamela, like, let Yumiko go. Because there's no threat here. And Yumiko was like, bitch, I am the threat. And Milton was like, clear the room, everybody, so we could talk. And essentially, she tells Yumiko, yeah, I've been kidnapping your friends. I got them. We removed them from the Commonwealth. And she's like, this against the law. Yumiko's like, this against the law. What do you even stand for? And Pamela's like, actually, it's about the law. It's about justice. I'm blackmailing you because I want you as a lawyer to represent the Commonwealth in the trial of the Commonwealth versus Eugene, whatever his last name is, like Porter.
Yeah.
She's like, you gonna be the fucking head prosecutor. And if you don't, you ain't gonna never see your friends again.
Yeah, she looked at her like, the hell I will.
Well, she then threatens Yumiko's brother.
Yep.
Who is not one of the Alexandrians. He was living there the whole time.
Right. Minding his business.
And we know from our interactions with him, he's I don't want to call him a coward. That's probably not fair. But he's very much like I would be in the Commonwealth. Where it's like, girl, they got running water. What? Okay, some people get kidnapped once in a while. What's that got to do with this?
Yeah, and then also with her brother, he was like, I liked being underneath the radar. Well, I was not seen. Nobody knew who the fuck I was. You march your ass in here and have me in a position where I can be seen, which is not what he desired in the first place.
He just don't want no stress.
Right.
He's very much like, listen,
like,
man, I just want to make ice cream or cakes.
He was like, I just want to make cupcakes and be on Food Wars, Alexandria Food Wars, whatever they are, Food Wars. The hell is this?
I don't want to fix no cancers or nothing. Just nothing but easy, smooth sailing for me. Give me a job with the least responsibility possible.
The least.
And that's who Pamela threatened. She was like, something might happen to your brother if you don't do what I sell you to, Yumiko. And she's like, Pamela says, I'm about to go prepare this press conference. And your ass better be there or be square, telling everybody, you're going to prosecute Eugene. Don't be late. And Yumiko leaves and goes and she does storm off. And like Pamela like looks at her for a second and she storms off like, yeah, that's what I thought, bitch. Like they're really taking the mask off of Pamela and the last 2 episodes to be like, oh, she doesn't just have a politician side to her. She has like a evil do dirt side to her.
Yeah, which is, I think, has always been there. And I think that she used to have her boy she was ripping on last week do a lot of that shit, but now she's having to do it herself since she kind of, locked him in the room with the zombies
and killed some of his men. So who knows if those people could even do dirt right now.
Right.
So then Yumiko goes to the hospital to see her brother, who's now a doctor and not a baker anymore. And she tells him that, hey, Pamela took my friends and she blackmailing me. What do you think I should do? Now I think this is interesting because one, she's asking him for advice in this scene. And I'm not saying that the character wouldn't ask, but I guess in my mind, I feel like she's the one that always seems to know. She seems to be the one that would know what to do, not ask what to do. But I think the show kind of needed her to be in the hospital for what happens later in the hospital. So they're just like, oh, we'll have her go talk to her brother. Also, it reminds the audience who her brother is. It's not he'd be on the screen every week.
Correct.
But of course, he gives the advice I thought he was going to give. Oh, no.
Because he's not about that life.
If it is, I ain't seen it.
I ain't seen nothing.
So he's very much like, just keep your head down. Let her prosecute your friend.
Yeah, she threatened me too. Like, let's keep everybody safe. And he said something that I knew was not true, but because he don't know, her crew, he was like, this is what they would have wanted. I was thinking, the fuck they would.
Right. And so she then says, so you just accept it? You just gonna accept this bullshit? And he said, it's not acceptance, it's survival. So she goes to leave, and she doesn't look like she's mad at him. She looks like she's might be about to take his advice. I don't know. Because he's like, just fucking do the blackmail trial, bitch. What's wrong with you? Stop trying to fuck things up.
Do everything.
And so on her way out, Connie is in like a supply closet, and she like motions to Yumiko, come here in the closet. And because Connie uses ASL, they basically can have this conversation with just their hands where they don't talk out loud. And just one of the things that is a asset in the Z-Poc that you would think would be a detriment, but it's like actually the ability to communicate in a way that you don't have to use your voices.
Correct.
Is extremely important, especially when you're hiding from the secret police.
Yes, it was very important not to be heard.
So they had this long conversation. Connie says basically she got away. They tried to kidnap her. She stabbed the dude in the leg and got free, even though she looked around. Kelly got taken. Connie came to the hospital because she knew she stabbed that man. He was going to need medical attention.
Right.
She know how to stab. And so they look through a vent and see he's actually in the room next to them. So because Connie's been keeping track the whole time. Then they have like a little bit of an argument because Connie's plan is, I'm gonna wait till this man's leaving the hospital. I'm gonna follow him to where he goes next. That's probably where our friends will be. But there's two problems with this. Number one, Connie is obviously a wanted person. The second they see her on the street, she's done for.
Yes, I'm not gonna report her.
And then secondly, Yumiko wants to help and to follow the man instead of her, because she knows they're not looking for her. They're like, but they know if she's spotted following this man, it'll obviously mean that Yumiko has spoken to Connie because Connie stabbed him, and now Yumiko's following him to see where her friends are. So it was kind of a risky plan, but Connie says she trusts Yumiko and she's gonna let her do it. But that also means they can't see each other anymore. Like it's gonna be too dangerous for me to be around you if people know that you followed that dude and I must have told you about it or something like that.
Right, because when she initially told her, she was like, I don't think this is a good idea. And she was like, I don't care. I didn't ask you. I didn't ask for your permission. This is something I was going to do.
She and she, but...
Oh, Connie.
Yeah, Connie was like, I didn't ask you. I
didn't ask for your permission, woman. I told you what I was going to do.
Yeah, I love that line. and her face and everything, her expression was just like, it's my sister. I don't need you to approve me going to try to save my sister. And we know Connie done so much shit by herself, got, lost and came all the way back through the Z-Pac. She ain't waiting on Yumiko to approve shit. But anyway, Yumiko tries to follow him, right? So
and she does a terrible job.
She gets spotted.
Yeah, she wasn't even trying to hide. She wasn't even trying to like slow her pace down where there would be some form of a distance or anything. She was like basically right on his ass.
Yeah, dude managed to like double back and literally look her in the face like, I know you following me. And they didn't say anything, but it was like busted, So now everyone knows that she talked to Connie. And they know Connie's out there somewhere, right?
Right.
So now back in the mayor's office, Pamela dictates notes to a new assistant where she's talking about either the trial or basically execution of Eugene and how, we'll put the security 20 feet back. We don't want people to feel like, they're under siege. But she's, she's in her Hillary Clinton mode, just bossing it up. And she's like, make sure you write that down, Max. And the woman's like, looks at her and she's like, oh, I'm sorry. Because Max has been working for us so long, and obviously Max can't come back. We didn't see Mercer and Max this week, but this is another one of those moments where I question Mercer's plan and how he doesn't see what's going to happen. Because to me, I'm like, Max isn't back at her job because that confession, whatever, nothing's ever going to make that whole or right.
Nope.
And if
Max wouldn't take the job anyway.
Right. And she hasn't changed her mind about Pamela Milton. And Pamela Milton, I think, is the type to, we'll get rid of Eugene and then get rid of Max too eventually. Like,
yes, she would.
She does dirt, and why would you let this loose thread out here, So I don't know how Mercer didn't realize he needs to side with the Alexandrians, but just out of necessity. But he feels like some days he's playing checkers.
Yeah, just to watch him go out because he's trying to follow the rules. And like Negan told him, everybody you the only one following the rules. You see what the fuck everybody else doing, and they ain't not following the rules.
So then she gets a phone call, Pamela Milton does, and she's like, what? And then she rushes to the prison. In the prison, she finds zombie Sebastian's body, dead. Like the skull has been crushed. The brains, it's very gross looking. Brains on the cell floor. Hornsby is missing. And in the brains is Hornsby's coin, the one she pulled out of his pocket last episode.
Like a magic trick.
That made it like, magic dick. I thought she was grabbing his balls.
Me too.
But he left that coin there to let her know he desecrated that body, which on two levels is interesting. On the first level, it is team petty. Oh my God, what a petty thing for Hornsby to do. Two, it so points out how much of a liar he is, because he was begging, like, I'm gonna work for your family. Pamela, you'll never have to work.
I'm at your disposal. All that shit. And
he desecrated the body of her son. Just to be like an extra fuck you, because he really did hate her and that family, and he doesn't see himself being subservient to her, period.
So I think that was the whole point of him breaking out and doing shit undercover without her permission and going to these other places and basically creating his own little thing outside of her. I think that was his biggest thing about Alexandria, Hilltop, in Oceanside, was he basically wanted his like own separate piece that he could run outside of her and away from her.
He's like Starscream, he fundamentally can't lead, but he can never be anybody's number two. It's because he won't accept that I'm just a number two. Like, he feels like he has to be equal. And I think his ego made him be like, I'm gonna put this coin in the thing just to show that bitch, you don't play me like this. But it's very like, I need you to know I'm the one that desecrated the body.
Right.
Later, Yumiko goes to Eugene's cell in jail to update him on everything. And she says that, like, I fucked up. I got caught following the dude. And she says all this within like kind of earshot of security. But it seemed like they were talking quiet, but not like they weren't mincing words, like trying to talk
Right.
in code or whatever.
Mm-mm.
So he's caught up on everything, and he knows the choice she has to make: prosecute me, or basically our friends that are kidnapped are gonna get killed or whatever. And he says, yeah, just go ahead and prosecute me. I knew that when I turned myself in that I was probably gonna get killed.
Right.
And then she's like, it's not your fault. And he tells her that it's not your fault for getting busted following dude.
Yeah, you wanted to help.
And then lastly, he says, but even if you do everything Pamela says, how do we know she will live up to her end of the deal?
Ain't that the truth? We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We
And I'm with
don't
him.
know, because he's like, it's been too much shady shit happening.
Yeah, I'm with him, because like that's the big thing to me is like, I mean, go along with the plan to extend the amount of time that everyone can be alive and stuff. But you know, this plan is not a good plan on Pamela's part, because she truly does not know these people. She just thinks she does. But she's soft because she from the Commonwealth. All them niggas soft.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't know they soft.
Right, compared to other groups that they've went across in the past. Yeah,
the stability makes them think they're not soft, but they soft as baby butter. Okay, but the thing that the thing that I thought was interesting here was Eugene's like follow the plan anyway, because he's ready to die. Like coward Eugene, scared. Maybe when the moment comes, he'll be scared and shit. But I mean, he did not renege on that shit. He was like, nope.
He 10 toes down. He was like, I'm gonna take full blame. I'm gonna take full responsibility. You know, because in his mind, he was like, if somebody I would rather sacrifice myself than to sacrifice Max. You know, even though it was her idea and we was in this together. You know, he was like, I'm just going to push her out and just be like, nope, she had nothing to do with it. It was 100% me. I'm the one that forced her to do it so that, you know, she could live a life.
Now, Karen, what do you think about Pamela's plan in general, which is, you know, kidnap the Alexandrians, to blackmail Yumiko into being a prosecutor for the Commonwealth against Eugene so they can put on a show trial? I guess give Eugene the death penalty, and then I guess give the Alexandrians back, you know, their friends, and then they go home. So what do you think about the plan that she's trying to do?
Because I know the group, and she underestimates the tight knitness of the group, and even when they're not in each other's presence, a lot of times they're still on the same page and same accord, which is a lot of times trying to get back to each other, regardless of how separated they are. You know, we've been with this group for years, and there have been people that's left the group and, you know, eventually came back to the group, people that went out to find people that have, you know, they're out there kind of lost. And so I think that she underestimates this group. And from the, I know we're going to go on, but from the beginning, when she threatened Yumiko, I was like, oh, she's not going to do that. Because I was like, oh, I know her and the love she has for the group. I was like, I could not see her doing that to Eugene and having the conscience to actually go through with it, unless the threat you had was like a really serious one. And it's also, you know, one of the things for me when I look, I go, from Pamela's mind, it's a good plan because she's used to, not trying funny, dealing with people that's kind of think like she does. They're used to a lot of the privileges and the advantages of that society. But they were like, bitch, we came from the outside. Like, we had to deal with shit that y'all probably can't even imagine, you know, because it's been so long since y'all had to deal with the outside world. And some of them, you know, may have stumbled across that place kind of at the beginning of everything. And so, you know, when you go 10, 12, however many years that place has been there, you've not really had to deal with anything. And so they've had to deal with society, with going places going down, having to rebuild and all that stuff. And like I said, I think Pamela underestimated the ties and the connections and the real friendship, because with Pamela, she is like, I tell people what to do. And they're like, no, we actually got each other's back. We actually are here for each other. Like the relationship is a completely different relationship.
So I hear everything you're saying. I agree. I think what I would say is I think the plan is stupid from Pamela's part, and here's why: they were already gonna leave.
Yeah, they were on their way to
She
leave.
could have just let them leave.
Yes.
Like they were packing up to go. You're kidnapping people as they're packing up to go. Okay, that's number one. Number two, this whole like show trial bullshit to keep order, this bread and circus shit, if it might as well be that wrestling match. Like, if it works on those people, it's because those people are just basically brainwashed and soft. But in general, it's not that complex of a plan. Like, you want to kill Eugene because you blame him for your son getting killed, and you want to kill Max, but you don't think you should because it's gonna look bad. Both things you could have had done by your dirt people. Both things. I mean, if you're willing to kidnap people, then just kill them people.
Right.
It's not like you really care about justice and shit in that case. You left Hornsby alive, which is such a weird loose cannon move. And then the last part of it is these Alexandrians can escape. They like, you're gonna hold them for a month. Like, you would have been better off kidnapping and killing everybody that night. Because if you give our crew, we've seen them down bad. We've seen them with a 28-3 deficit in the Super Bowl and come back and win.
We see like one person go, okay, I'm gonna fuck all y'all up. Like one person. So
why it looks like you're leaving a bag of loose cannons. You just leaving a bag of loose cannons laying around, like, and we'll control that. And at the end, if you really fulfill your promise and let Yumiko and everybody reunite, they're gonna kill you.
Yes, they are.
They like Carol and Daryl will not still be breathing and be like, well, she got us. Time to go home. I understand why she had to kill Eugene. No, they're going to kill you, and it don't take many of them to fuck up that 50,000 people in there. It would not take them an afternoon to fuck y'all
and the
up.
whole place would be in chaos. Like they came in looking around, going, security kind of like they was looking like, oh, everything, oh, this place going, like a lot of them were like, oh, this place gonna fall apart. I mean, I go with the program, but child, we ain't gonna be here long.
It's barbecue chicken out there, and so that's the reason I think her plan is stupid. It just feels stupid and like a thing you do when you care about optics. I'm not saying the plan is stupid in like, oh, the writing on the show. I mean, the plan is stupid in yes, this is what the Commonwealth would think is important. A fucking circus trial. That'll keep order. It's like, nah, you just kill the people if that's the case.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right. And it's also one of those things where I do agree with you that it is a stupid plan. I do agree. If she, quote unquote, wanted to get rid of them as much as she said she did, she would have, like you said, let them walk. Because you know what? They would have left and they would have never came back.
They didn't want to live there. Only a few of them were even gonna stay.
Yep, most of them.
She would have only had to worry about, it seemed like, Ezekiel maybe.
Yeah, because I think every majority.
I'm sorry. Ezekiel, Connie, Kelly, maybe Magna, maybe.
Right.
Everybody else was either like Princess was leaving. Like,
I think Yumiko was gonna stay.
Yumiko was just gonna stay. She wasn't gonna stay to help fight.
No.
Like, only a few of them wanted to like try to make the place better.
Everybody else was
stupid
like,
ass
I'm out
decision.
Yes, it was.
So Pamela fucked up. But back to this. Sorry, just a little sidebar there.
No problem. I like side tangents.
So at the press conference, Yumiko has a prepared speech. Pamela's like, read the words. And Yumiko's like, it's all bullshit theater. And Pamela's like, just make sure you know your lines. So they have like a little like tit for tat, a little,
like that go,
ooh. I can respect how you stand up for your family and your people. That's what I'm trying to do. And then Yumiko's like, you doing this for yourself. In the audience is a bunch of townspeople, including Yumiko's brother. Of course, none of the Alexandrians and people are there because they kidnapped. And we know that Yumiko's brother is a person that Pamela is using to threaten Yumiko in addition to the kidnapped people.
Right.
So Yumiko, as she goes to take the stage, hears the security walkie-talkie go off. And the walkie-talkie says there are certain people that are still on the loose. Carol and Daryl and Hornsby, I think. And that's enough for her to know, like, wait a minute, they don't got all my people. Because,
she was like, she lied to me. The way she made it sound like they literally caught everybody. and she knows enough that I'm not trying to be funny. That's like you got the big joker and a little joker, and you like, and she's like, oh, y'all, oh, so they still out there. Oh, the two of them can do enough damage to, I know that anything I do, I'm going to do it for the group. I think that was the thing that actually changed her mind at that point in time.
And so she gets up to give a speech. At first, she starts giving the speech like it was written, and then at one point she points out her brother and goes off script and makes him stand and makes sure everyone recognizes him as a committed to the community and a member of the community, a doctor, and her brother, just emphasizing this is my brother. And then Pamela doesn't like that shit. They show her face, and then Yumiko finishes her speech by basically saying, I'm going to defend Eugene against the Commonwealth because he didn't do it. And she walks over towards Pamela and just drops the speech at her feet and says, here's your speech, and then walks off.
Yeah, and also I personally think the biggest reason why she had her brother stand up is because she wanted everybody to recognize her brother, see her brother, and if anything happens to him, people will know, okay, that's her brother. If you do something to him, they're gonna be like, oh, you shamming, you know what happened to her brother. Like, people are gonna demand things from you. So she basically, that was a way to protect her brother.
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought happened. Like, this is her way of saying, if he goes missing, y'all know that some hijinks are afoot. All right, so now we go to the on the run portion, the action portion. So we start with another montage. This time it's a Carol centric montage with what I assume to be future Judith, but could be someone else.
Me too.
Carol, when it's done, Carol's in the bakery getting some food. So for their trip back to Alexandria.
Yeah, she packing up.
Meaning the baddest bitch in the camp was about to leave. The impossible white man of the show,
come on,
was about to leave. This is another reason I say that fucking plan is stupid about Pamela. Because what happens next? Oh,
I mean, if Pamela was smart, because she don't know the structure of the crew, she'd have got her first.
Well, this is why I say the plan is stupid. It's not about getting Carol first. It's Carol was about to leave and would have been none the wiser of what the fuck was happening in those walls. True. She just would have been gone. You wouldn't have to worry about anything. But Carol, but the actions that Pamela people take next make sure that Carol will be around. So Zeke comes in. Carol doesn't even have to turn around. She can tell it's him from his way he's walking, his footsteps.
Yep.
And he said, maybe you know me too well. Ha ha ha. She said, well, I know you're not here to say goodbye because we already said goodbye. It's like, well, I am here to give you some medical supplies for your trip back home. And she says, cool, I left you some like bagels or some shit. And she says, you know, like Ezekiel, and she turns around and Zeke is gone.
He gone. Like, it just got quiet. I was like, oh shit.
This was filmed so well and so fun and so cool. Cause like you were looking through the bagels with her 1 second, Zeke is gone the next. And my first thought was, oh no, is Carol going crazy? Is she having hallucinations? Was Zeke not even there and she made him up? Oh no, this is going to be one of those weird episodes where they just make somebody do ghostly things and you kind of hate it because they're messing with reality. Except it wasn't that. Someone bust in and tries to kidnap Carol, which means they already grabbed Zeke.
Yeah, they caught him because he was too busy looking at that ass, and they put that mask over him. Was like, "Oh, I got you."
He was like, "I don't want no bagel. I want some of them cakes, them sticky vanilla cakes." You know what I'm saying? We need to swirl them anyway. So then, the kidnapper guys can't catch Carol because it's Carol. She like beats him up a little bit.
Yeah, I was thinking the whole time, like, I hope y'all don't think y'all gonna get her.
And she escapes. You know, like putting stuff like down so they can't open doors and shit. Just, you know, like a Home Alone shit.
Yeah, she's smart. She's like, oh, I'm gonna make it difficult to get to me.
Outside, she ducks and hides as the guards look for her. They can't find her. She goes to find Daryl. Daryl is fighting for his life, like R. Kelly getting interviewed by Gail.
Because it took two of them, and when they panned around, one of them was already dead. I was like, God, Daryl took one of them out. It was like, oh, word.
Right. He killed one of his attackers, and then he's struggling fighting the other one. And the guy, it's a prolonged fight that the guy's kind of getting the upper hand of Daryl. But Carol comes over and knocks the guy off of Daryl. Then they get up, and the henchman that Daryl killed first, he turns into a walker and bites the other henchman because convenient zombies.
Yes, convenient zombie.
They do whatever the plot needs to do.
Yep, I'm here for it.
So the convenient zombie, it morphs in record time and kills this man. And then Daryl stabs both of them through the head. And he turns to Carol. He's like, Carol, they got the kids. And she's like, nigga, they got everybody. And then they're like, oh, shit. They run out together.
They pieced that together. They're like, wait a minute.
And Daryl's like, man, they even took dog.
Right? Not dog.
And
they're like, you get some too, dog.
They immediately figure out these men work for Pamela. And Daryl's first thought is to go to Mercer.
Yeah.
And Carol says she's not sure about Mercer. Would he turn them in? Would he help them? They don't know. Which says a lot about Mercer to me, because it's the Prince's dilemma. He's a good man that still wants to do what's right, but what's right to him is the whatever his job demands of him, and that's right. That means you're not a good man, because you got to know these things are wrong. Anyway, so they say you can't go to Mercer. What are we gonna do? Carol's like, I know one more person, and it's Hornsby. They're gonna go get Hornsby out of jail.
And I was thinking, this is a terrible plan.
So Daryl and Carol take out. Now, why did you think it was a terrible plan?
Because he can't be trusted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, they know that, but it's one of those things where he can't be trusted. But also, he is dirty enough to where I think that they understand, well, we can actually use each other in this situation.
I think he can't be trusted, but he's like a person that if you know what motivates somebody, you don't have to trust them. If I know what you'll do, I don't need to trust you. Like, it's like if I know that you'll go in my wallet and take $20 out every time I leave the room, right? I don't really have to trust you. I just take my wallet with me. You know what I mean? Or if I don't care if you get the $20, I leave $20 in my wallet, and you just steal it. So if I know what you're gonna do, and I feel like there's a way where when Hornsby has certain things that are advantageous to him, you know what he's gonna do. So you can't trust him. You're absolutely right. But you can rely on him to use what he can to his advantage.
True.
And so we'll get you out of jail. You tell us where Pamela is taking our friends.
Right.
Feels like it to me a better plan than going to Mercer, because Mercer to me is a guy that you could tell him everything and then he march your ass right into Pamela's office and be like, look what they were trying to do,
Yeah, that's true. And with him, with Hornsby, I think that they go, well, we know he knows where they are, because this would sound like some shit that he would probably do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think that's a big part of it. And it also, like, it's Daryl and Carol, so I don't think, like, if something go wrong, they'll be fine.
Yes.
So to me, the only question was like, can they really break in prison? But then I was like, nah, Daryl and Carol could break into prison.
Yes, they
in
can.
This place, they could definitely break into this prison.
Right? With their lack of security.
So Daryl and Carol take out a couple guards at the prison. They get into Hornsby's cell, and it's a gruesome mess. Sebastian the zombie is covered in blood, smeared on the floor all over his body. He's crawling because it's not like a walking zombie kind of thing. And
he's chained too.
He's still chained up to the corner, so he can't get to Hornsby. But Hornsby has been feeding the zombie his dead man. And also Hornsby has his coin, and he's despondent. He's just looking at the coin, repeating like, there's always a way. There's a way out. There's always a way. Over and over and over again.
Like, I was like, oh, he done lost it.
Yeah, and at first I thought maybe he's putting on an act. I was like, oh, he wants to look crazy in front of them, but he wouldn't have known they were coming and stuff. Mm-mm. And his men really are dead. And so he's like, always a path, always a thing. And spinning the coin. Daryl goes and Batman on this nigga, just like, tell us what our friends are, and start like choking them and all kinds of shit. Just giving them CTE like Batman does criminals. Carol takes over, but it's almost like when the Three Stooges take over. It's not really better.
No one's
Because like Daryl was like pulling at the dude's scar that he left him on his face when he chopped him and shit. And then Carol puts a knife through his throat.
Right, so everybody threatening the man.
It was like Airplane where they all take turns slapping that person.
Right.
It's like, no, I got it. Slap. Hey, get a hold of yourself. Get yourself together. No, I got it. Tell you my turn. Slap. Hey, man, what are you doing? You going crazy? Slap. That it felt like that, but she does get him to come back to reality for a second, and because she's like, listen, we either got to kill you or you got to come with us. We can't let you be alive now that we've been here. So come back to reality and tell us where our friends are. You dead? He's like, I'll show you where they are. He's like, y'all don't trust me anyway, so let me show y'all where your friends are, and that way y'all take me out of here instead of killing me right now. Because in his mind, if I tell you where they are, we'll stop y'all from killing me.
Agreed.
So he says, I know a way out of this thing. He's back in the game. He's paying attention again. He's Hornsby again. He has an ankle monitor on, but it's not like what we have where it tracks your location. It just sends radio signals that someone has escaped their cell, and it goes off as soon as you escape your cell. So he's like, Daryl goes to cut it off, and Hornsby says, you're going to have to cut off our leg, to which, of course, Daryl's like, that ain't no problem. But Hornsby's like, and then what? Y'all going to carry me? So he's like, Carol says, well, you better run fast.
Right, don't be fucking around.
So then he says, all right, I just need to do one thing first. And we see later the one thing was crushing Sebastian's skull. Even though Daryl killed the zombie, he just stabbed it in the head one time. But he crushes the skull, leaving, and then puts his coin in the brain matter. Just gross as hell, and patin pate
to the fullest.
As they're escaping, they get in the shootout. Daryl stays back to shoot the guards, meaning Carol and Hornsby have to run out on their own. Carol doesn't want to leave them, but Daryl's like, I'm gonna be fine. You just, you go. And we know he will be fine because it's Daryl, but also, I think the show wants us just to see Carol and Hornsby alone, and he's a dangerous figure. What will he do to Carol? Will he try to overpower her, try to escape, thinks he can reverse psychology her or something? Because he don't really know her either. And so outside the walls, Carol and Hornsby are walking, and he tries to sweet talk her. He's like, oh man, the way you was killing them people out, oh, you so smart. See, that's the thing, you special. You 10 steps ahead of everybody. That's what I like about you. That's what makes you so dope.
He was talking too much, because she put that gun out like I will blow your fucking brains out. The fuck is this? All this goddamn talking. What's wrong with you, sir?
Yeah, he said, who else could have did what you did? I hope Daryl's okay. That's when she pulls her gun out and points it at him, basically like, nigga, stop playing. You don't even give a fuck about Daryl, so don't even try that bullshit on me. He's like, what? Maybe I'm just not operating at full capacity because I went through a traumatic ordeal. I fed my man to my boss's son. And she's like, nah, don't, stop trying to fucking sweet talk me or whatever the fuck. Just show me where we need to go. And finally he's like, well, shoot me then. Fuck. Good luck finding your friends. But before they can have a conversation, they see a caravan of soldiers, security guys on their vehicles, and they're patrolling for them. And so Hornsby's like, I know a secret way we can escape, but you just gotta trust me. And she hesitates at first, but then basically like, fuck it, what other, they're gonna find us if we stay in the field. What other choice do I have?
Right. And basically it's like a pathway that they don't use anymore. It's almost decommissioned because they were saying how it was so unstable. It had a few collapses, so don't nobody even go to pathway.
Right. It looks like almost like a cave or a big sewer or something. And inside of it, he does another round of trying to talk his way and ingratiate himself. But he also brings up a valid question that I believe he doesn't care about, which is, okay, y'all take out Pamela Milton and the leadership of the Commonwealth. Then what? What y'all gonna do with the 50,000 people that live here? And she's like, I don't know them. My last name is Bennett. I'm not in it.
Right. She's like, not my problem, sir.
And he's like, what about the kids then? And we know Carol do love the kids.
Don't she though?
So she goes quiet, but she doesn't like answer him or not answer him. I wondered if this is his his bid to run the Commonwealth. Like this is him doing this thing again where I'm gonna help y'all. I'm gonna be this and I'm gonna be that. But really, he won't ever be happy until he's ruling the Commonwealth as basically a tyrant, you know. And you know, he's like, somebody need to help the kids and all this stuff. And she's basically, I'm not thinking about all that. Then a smell is so bad it basically makes everybody shut up. He looks up, there's skin from a walker sitting on like just a suitcase or something.
Just skin, just
walker skin. And it didn't look like Whisperer mask. It's like an actual just the skin of a walker fell off or something. And they end up getting into basically a scuffle with zombies. One of them grabs Hornsby's leg. It doesn't bite him, but he just can't get loose, and he starts yelling because he's not like them, you know.
He ain't about that life, which draws more out.
Right, and so then Carol ends up having to fight off some of the walkers, and of course they've now added an element of fear to the show that wasn't there last week, which is now that I know variant walkers exist, I'm looking at the walkers close to be like, did that walker fucking slap her hand away, or did it like, you know, like, is that walker going for her gun? I don't know.
Right.
But these were just regular walkers, it seemed. But he gets loose from the walker that grabs his leg, disappears. Carol's flashlight falls down like another part of the cave. Carol pulls out her gun, shoots a bunch of zombies in the face, struggles with fighting the last one. Hornsby,
and his skin started peeling.
I was gonna get to it,
my bad.
But yeah. Hornsby has the flashlight that Carol dropped, but he's way in the back. He got her back way in the back.
He's like, I'm way back here. I'm shining the light. He started shining light. She was like, the hell? He was like, I just want you to see.
Right. And so she goes to rip this struggle fight the zombie. She goes to like rip at the zombie to push it off of her, and its skin comes off like chicken skin. It stopped peeling. Cool special effect. It was real gross.
Yeah, it was.
But real cool. Yeah. I mean, it was, oh my God, it was such a cool special effect. So then Hornsby apologizes for not helping, but says, I had to hold the light so you could see. They run out of the tunnel that the walkers are following them out of, which is interesting because we don't see those walkers again in the next scene, because as soon as they get out of there, security must have heard the gunshots.
Yes.
They surround Carol and Hornsby. And like I said, it was just like a weird thing, because normally when they show like walkers doing that or something, they normally show the walkers come up later or something. But I guess the walkers can hit something. They just took a left and didn't follow Carol and Hornsby.
It was like, ooh, too far. I'm tired.
Right.
All right. Time to take a nap, guys.
So then these are dirty cops. Like these security people, Mercer's not around.
And they're not trying to follow no rules.
I don't know if it's Pamela's people or they just lazy, but they was like, radio into the tower that we found Hornsby and Carol, and they put up a fight and they got killed in the resistance. And I was like, damn, they just gonna kill them. But of course, before they can do that, my man Daryl pulls up and kills a bunch of them from behind.
Yeah, because he was up when he won the trucks.
Yeah, my man Daryl, we knew he was gonna be fine when he said, go without me. He'll come up, he'll be catching up to you when you need him. So he may not came when you needed, but he was on time and shot them motherfucking security people.
Yes, he did.
After they shoot the security people, Daryl joins the crew. Daryl sees that there's only 2 people guarding this structure, where maybe they're planning on holding up for the night or something, or I don't think they thought their people were there, because Hornsby's still alive, and he's like, okay, so your people ain't down there. Your people, I know the path. Like the path forks off a couple ways, but it goes to our train. Commonwealth is building a train, laying tracks and stuff so that the working train will connect all the communities together. making the Commonwealth's reach grow bigger and bigger. That's the, I guess a big secret they haven't been bringing up all this time.
Right.
And it makes you think, wait a minute, people been going and disappearing. It wasn't just people running down in that damn house. People been going and disappearing. Maybe they're using their labor to build the train.
Yep. And when they excommunicate people or kick people out of the community, they probably take them there.
Right. So
they don't actually let them, quote unquote, go out and open anymore. And to an extent, it's smart because we let you go out, you might come back and be.
Slavery.
Yeah, that's what it is, slavery.
Yeah, and I think this is one of those moments where they've done a great job of just a send up of America. The Commonwealth is just so America. It's secretly founded on slavery that no one talks about, and they're still using slavery, disappearing people and putting them in wherever this fucking labor camp is or something, making them work on a train. Now, Hornsby fucked up because, and he didn't know it yet, but they was basically like, well, you can go ahead and go, because he's like, but we're gonna take over the Commonwealth, we're gonna make it better. He's like, no, we're not. He's like, I already got a campaign slogan, and they're like, we don't care about that shit. You don't get to be here. Get out. He's like, oh, come on, man, y'all gonna kill me? And Carol's like, we might not kill you. You can run. And he's like, how? And do what? Like, and she was like, go, you a smart guy. Go fucking survive in the Z-Pac outside like we did. And he's like, I made mistakes. I know that, but I'm not that's not who I am anymore. That guy's gone. He died back in that cell. I won't make it out of here. And they're like, Daryl says, good. He said, I won't make it out there. Yeah, I won't make it out there. He says, good. And Carol's like, listen, man, you got a chance being out there, so go leave. He goes to leave. He's passing the Jeep that I guess they stole, or one of the people's Jeeps. He's passing the Jeep. There's a gun in the back of the Jeep. He tries to grab the gun and shoot both of them. Because at the end of the day, this motherfucker is just like the coin in the brains. This motherfucker right here, Hornsby, he's so full of audacity, man. He wants that mantle of leadership in the Commonwealth, and it wouldn't matter if Pamela kicked him out or not. If you don't kill someone like this, they're just gonna be a problem. And Carol was already thinking it because she shot this motherfucker with a bow before he could even pull the trigger on that gun.
Right in the neck. I was like, oh, and I thought about it. I was like, you know what? I think that they really would have let him leave.
Yeah, I think so too.
And just leave and just be like, okay.
We'll never know for sure, but right. I'll lean towards they would have let him leave. But the way the arrow hit him, felt like that arrow might have been in the air before he even turned around. Like that motherfucking arrow hit this nigga so quick, y'all.
Mm-hmm. She was like, "Oh, we know we can't trust you." Like,
right.
like the second he passed and she seen that, she was like, "Mm-mm."
He looked like he was like, "How about this? Oh, damn, you almost got me." And so he was dead, and they leave him in the ground, bleeding out. Gonna soon turn into a zombie.
Mm-hmm.
And the last scene is a bus full of people wearing those kidnapped hoods.
When they say they got everybody, that mean they caught everybody.
Yeah, I didn't see Dog, but I assumed Dog was there. But that's probably just because I didn't rewind. But yeah, they had a guy on a soldier that was taking needles and sticking each one of them with drugs to make sure they were passed out the whole ride. Mm-hmm. And we see him stick Ezekiel last with the knockout juice.
Yeah, and I think maybe some of that too was in case people may have been familiar with the area or something like that, just so they would have.
So they won't know their surroundings and be able to get back to the Commonwealth, probably.
Agreed.
But yeah, that's the end of the show. It was a heck of an ending. A lot of action. I know I tried to describe it to you, but some of the action you'd have to see.
Yes.
The chicken skin walkers was amazing.
That was really neat.
What are you looking forward to next week?
I am looking forward to see what's happening to the people at the railroad track. Mm-hmm. You know, that's the sound of the man working on the chain gang.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
Carol and Daryl.
I hate slavery.
I'm looking forward to some slavery.
Carol and Daryl gonna fuck them up because I was like, the two people were actually, because the way they team functions, I don't think it would have mattered which two you left. Any two that was free, they was like, we going to get our goddamn people.
I honestly feel like that's the point. That's the place we're at right now, where it don't even really matter. You leave Judith alive, everybody getting free.
Everybody getting some.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what they do next week. That's it for this week. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too. Mwah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Y'all have a good rest of the night. Peace.